Hey everybody, it's Melanie from Mud Girl Pottery. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I make a small bottle. Now I'm looking to do the type of bottle that has a super narrow neck. So we're going to talk a bit about collaring up and how to speed up your hands, keep your hands wet. It's a little tricky. So here we go. We're going to start to center the clay. I'm going to skip all the details of centering. I think I have plenty of videos talking about centering. I don't usually like to put a foot on my bottles, mostly because I don't like to trim. With my open up, I want to keep my inside narrow, and I'm going to do a little bit of a scoop open up. It's like a claw. And what I've done is I've convinced the clay that it's going to stay narrow on the top, and there's no chance that it's going to be a bowl. With my pull, I'm going a little thinner up on the top because what collaring does is it compresses the clay, and now that top part, the walls are getting a little thicker than they were to start. I'm going to start to accentuate the shape by pulling that clay all the way up and a little more pressure on my inside hand. Now a little bit of a cylinder on top. So remember, it's sort of just a sexy bot on the bottom, so I'm putting no pressure on the bottom and then getting super aggressive up on the top. A really big mistake that people do when they make bottles is they start their neck too low down. So you want to start a little higher, because remember, when you compress that lip and you collar the top, you're ending up with almost double the amount of clay as what you had when it was wider. So you're going to get a lot more height. And visually, we really don't want, ignore the little bit of a blur here, we really don't want the neck of our bottle to be equal in length as the bottom of our bottle. Kind of aim for that law of thirds. Notice when I come off of the top, that's a little quick. But when I collar, I gently take my fingers off the top as if I'm placing a card on a house of cards. I'm gently waiting until my fingers come off the top. You're going to notice that as I start to get to the neck, my fingers are going faster. That's because it takes less time to get a full revolution when it's only 1.5 inches wide. Whereas on the bottom, 4 to 5 inches, you've got to go a little slower. Always visualize a record player. What I'll tend to do is use my finger to sort of shape the slope on the outside of my bottle. We want a real smooth transition between the curvature of the bottom and the neck. So sometimes we could do that little bit of a micro pull to kind of get ourselves straight. A little party trick that we do sometimes at public events is I will blow into the bottle. The walls were not as thin as I would like, so it didn't really get the volume that I would have liked it to have gotten by doing that little fancy trick there. Notice if your hand moves faster than the wheel, you get that little swirl, which I tend to do on purpose. It's really important to pay attention to the lip of your bottle. Kind of gives it a little bit of a finish. So now it's time to really expose the shape of our bottle. We know that the inside is round, so we take our wood tool and we really carve away the extra. This is when it really starts to look like it's possibly lifting off the table, that little bit of extra space.